Now that Republicans are in control of the U.S. House, they are changing the rules. And one of those rules, they are preventing the mayor of Washington, D.C. from having access to the House floor. But it's not just her. It's also folks from Puerto Rico and other territories. Again, so Republicans made the change on Monday night when they passed the new House rules package. The change bans Bowser, as well as the governor from U.S. territories like Puerto Rico, from being on the floor. Although the move will not impact Bowser's mayoral duties, Democrats believe it sends a clear political message. The new rules grant 17 categories of people, including governors and foreign ministers. A. Scott Bolden is a lawyer here in D.C. Joe Richardson, civil rights attorney, as well as Monique Presley, legal analyst and host of Make It Make Sense with Monique Presley. Glad to have all three of you here. Scott, okay, so for people who don't understand, the reality is Washington, D.C., of course, we know, is not a state. And so Congress...
It should be.
Well, we know it should be. Congress has authority. And so what typically happens is when Democrats are in control, they treat Washington, D.C. and its elected officials a lot differently than Republicans do. Yet, when there's something that Republicans want, then they'll oppose their will. So for instance, when Republicans supported opportunity vouchers for folks to be able to take public dollars and go to private schools, they passed that law governing Washington, D.C. And so you've always had this back and forth over how Republicans treat leadership in Washington, D.C. compared to Democrats.
Which is why they won't pass the necessary legislation for statehood, because 8 out of every 10 people in D.C. Are Democrats. But they have no problem when we saved them on January 6th, when the Capitol Police needed the help the most. It was the D.C. police that were there, and our tax dollars at work. It is also why they will not allow us to tax at the source of income. 60% to 70% of every individual who's in Washington 9 to 5 during the week is a Maryland and Virginia resident, and we lose those tax revenues. But that's another issue. The message being sent here by the Republicans is complete nonsense, if you will. She's always, the mayor of the District of Columbia can be on the floor for any number of reasons as the guest of both Republican and Democrats. And so it's more pettiness on the part of the Republicans. That's why we don't have statehood. That's why we are indentured servants to America, and why we obviously continue to rely on the federal government, because they will not allow us to be self-actualizing as a jurisdictional entity.
Monique, again, Republicans are showing, who they are by being, as Scott said, petty. You're on mute. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Happy New Year, Scott.
Well, you should know by now how to operate a computer.
When you ain't here, you talk about your bag. I'm just letting you know.
Here he comes. Here he comes helping. Roland is the host, Scott. Listen, they're not just petty, right? They're racist. And this seems petty. This seems like, petty with no purpose. But as Scott said, yes, indentured servants. Yes, District of Columbia is left-leaning, is heavily Democratic, is chocolate still, even with all of the gentrification and amelioration, still chocolate. So when they do these things, what they are saying is no Black folks for us. Right? It's not just about politics. It's not just about a vote. It is about taxation without representation. And they won't even enable the leader who should be governor for the District of Columbia to be there where the action happens, even though it's not like she could have a vote. It's not like, unless she was called upon, she could have a say. But there are many things that are not covered that need to be covered. They're doing all of this, asking for C-SPAN to have more reach with its cameras, et cetera, and so on. There are things that directly affect the District of Columbia every single day. Decisions about federal dollars, decisions about federal buildings, decisions about the way that income is generated, and the things that Scott pointed out. And they want her, because she is effective, they want her out.
Joe, the first Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton, she is the D.C. representative in Congress. And again, when the Democrats are in charge, she actually gets a vote. Well, Republicans in charge, we see how that changes. They're showing us exactly who they are.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Happy New Year, everybody. And Monique stole my term, taxation without representation. You know, that's just what this describes. I mean, this describes this clearly. And it's their term. It's the reason why America was founded. And fundamentally speaking, I mean, we all know, we can see that, they'll never want D.C. statehood because that guarantees 2 extra black senators, that guarantees an area being represented and making a difference. It is America where we're going 101, right? We talk about 2043. Well, it's been done happened at Washington, D.C., right? There's always been majority minority, always mostly black folks. And so therefore, Eleanor Holmes Norton, who has been the D.C. representative for 30 years or more, I remember seeing her in 1992 when I was working with Congresswoman Waters. They've been fighting the good fight. And by and large, until the mid-90s, most of the time, the Democrats had the House. And so even while they were kind of going along the road with some of these things, they could still be there. They weren't flushed out just because they were black, and they reminded them of a reality that's a little bit closer than the Republicans actually wanted to be. But here we are again, right? I guess the thing that we can take solace in, our silver lining is that the Republicans, I sense, could continue to make the mistakes and have the fumbles that will prescribe this as just a 2-year problem.
Well, these are American citizens. That's who they are. Folks in Puerto Rico, they are American citizens. And you see how Republicans treat American citizens. They don't particularly want to have a vote in Congress because, again, they're scared those are going to be blue territories and not red territories. All right, folks.
Hey, Roland, the GOP may not know that they're American citizens.
Well, trust me, they know, but we know how utterly silly they are. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Your money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.